If you played any SS14 recently, you have probably seen this guy down to a T. I'm going to jump straight into what these weapons are good at. Both the Energy Dagger and Energy Sword both have identical reflect chances. At their worst reflect chance, they have a 25% chance of reflecting any non-energy or energy projectile, and at their best, they have a 50% chance of reflecting any non-energy or energy projectile. The way reflect chance works between the reflect probability and the minimum reflect probability is based off the velocity of the person moving. So somebody moving slow will be closer to the 50% reflect than they would be closer to the quarter. If you're moving full speed with no movement speed inhibitors, you'll be somewhere around the 25% reflect rate. There's no easy way of knowing exactly where your percent at is in game, but all you really need to know is that the slower you're moving, the higher your reflect will be up until a cap. Reflect chances can stack, and due to the fact that you have two hands in this game, if you have two energy swords, two energy daggers, an energy sword, and an energy dagger, you name it, in both hands, and you're standing completely still, your reflect probability is more like 75% chance, aka two 50-50s. This is why you have probably seen these weapons, especially on Nuke Ops, much more often. They have inherently gotten a little bit stronger over time, because it's pretty often that Nukies will at least have some form of slowdown, and even still, would still prefer to have some form of reflect. Plus, the Energy Sword, in general, is just a really solid melee weapon. So the Energy Sword is not only one of the best offensive melee options in the game, it's also one of the best defensive. And the Energy Dagger, yeah, maybe not the best weapon, but it costs basically nothing and has the same defensive property as the Energy Sword. Very quickly, an Energy Dagger only costs 2 Telecrystals. But when you have 40 TC, 2 Telecrystals to have up to a 50% chance of reflecting any projectile, that's a crazy good deal. Because your other option is to buy an Energy Shield, which doesn't reflect kinetic weapons at all. It only reflects energy. Yeah, it's basically guaranteed to reflect energy shots, but it costs 4 times more, and it's not a weapon. So that's why it's in great contention with the Energy Sword, where the Energy Sword still has that up to 50% reflect chance, but the sword is one of the best melee weapons in the game as well. The shield also can just break and be completely useless, where these energy melee weapons can't break, and they can even fit in your pockets and stuff if turned off. They're very, very versatile. So the Juggernaut suit does cost 12 Telecrystals, but both Nuclear Operatives and Syndicate Agents can buy this. And inside of the Juggernaut suit crate, you do get combat gloves and a Syndicate Gas Mask. The Syndicate Gas Mask does provide some damage reduction, but the most important thing is it provides flash protection. But the Juggernaut suit provides a whopping 80% damage reduction to everything and 70% to explosive. But the big thing here is that it reduces your running speed by 35%, meaning that even while moving full speed with the Juggernaut suit, you can't slip on normal surfaces, and that's going to make your reflect chances higher while still being insanely tanky and not like super slow. So you're almost getting to the point where you have a 100% reflect chance while still moving full speed in quotations with armor. This is a Syndicate Agent with their gas mask on, which gives 5% damage reduction. The helmet is another 10%, and the armor itself is 80 against piercing. L6 saws do 17 damage a bullet. So we're just going to sit here and count how many shots it actually takes to crit a full health human with no piercing modifiers with the Juggernaut suit and gas mask. So that was 30 bullets. So 31 bullets is how much it takes to crit a full health Juggernaut suit user. Now here is a Juggernaut with an energy shield. Energy shields don't reflect any physical bullet, but shields deflect 50% of the damage into itself, but shields break, and energy shields are decently tanky. But for 8 Telecrystals against bullets, it's not a huge increase of defensiveness. It's nice, but there are better options, which is kind of the point in this video. So we'll hit him with the 31 bullets like before. Shield breaks at about 16 bullets. Shield breaks at about 13 or 14 bullets. So that is 31 bullets right there. It seems like the Energy Shield really only provides you about 7 more shots total against kinetic bullets, especially in like a burst like that. The shield really does not help too much overall against bullets. Yeah, the L6 Saw does 17 damage a shot, but all the station's weapons only do 1 less, so the shots to kill is really not too much different between these guns. But you also can just get shot by an L6, it does happen. So, Energy Shield is really only good for deflecting things like Disablers, but the more popular option, and definitely the meta option right now, is just have an Energy Dagger or Energy Sword in your offhand, or possibly even just dual wield them. So the energy dagger, while not moving, has a 50% chance to reflect everything, and I literally have to give myself God mode because at this close of a range shooting it, I'll kill myself if I don't have God mode. So it takes 31 bullets to crit a jug suit user. It takes about 39 bullets to crit a jug suit user with an energy shield. Let's see how many bullets it takes to crit one with some RNG involved. Theoretically, it should be about exactly 62 if it reflects exactly 50% of the shots, but RNG's RNG. Could possibly survive 70 plus, might not even survive past 60. But we'll just do it for fun. So that's 50 bullets. And their RNG was definitely not up to 50-50. They went down in about 56 bullets. Close to 50-50, but not quite. But just that, one energy dagger, 2 telecrystals, nearly doubled this person's effective HP pool because reflex, and if I didn't have God mode, I absolutely would have died before they did, which is just absolutely crazy to consider and think about. Now this is the fun part. They effectively have 75% reflect chance against me, meaning that they should theoretically survive the entire L6 SAW magazine. So let's just mag dump them. Yes, indeed they did. They reflected 77 bullets. An entire L6 SAW magazine is not enough to take down somebody using an energy sword and an energy dagger. You could always just use an energy pen as well to save the money. So technically 4 TC can get you to be this tanky instead of spending 10. So it's just absolutely insane. Well, you could try to use something like a stinger grenade, and indeed, a stinger grenade has a pretty high chance of working, but stinger grenades are rather limited. So if I just drop a stinger grenade basically in their hitbox, even with the high reflect chance, there's just so many projectiles that you're pretty likely to at least knock them over, and you need to get those weapons away from them. Disablers aren't a terrible option. If you do manage to actually connect 2 shots, you will at least slow them, which ironically will actually probably increase the reflect chance. But if they are moving at you, you may get decent RNG and may be able to stun them that way. But odds are somebody like this is going to have EMP implants, and if you're even within a few tiles of them, you're going to lose access to your disabler and stun baton, so it's kind of really hard to fight this guy. You can't shoot them. They're going to probably disable all your electrical weapons. There's nothing they're really weak to. It's just a really brutal situation to fight. It's funnily enough though, if they actually like inject themselves with like a Phaedron or something, they'll actually decrease their reflect chances because they're moving too quickly. So there is some silver linings to this. There is some downsides to this build specifically. However though, if you do manage to get a disabler at SMG, due to just how many shots a disabler SMG has, it's pretty statistically likely that if you land all your hits, which is crazy, you have to land all of them pretty much, you probably can disable them. But they will be moving, so their reflex chances aren't going to be as good as this. But, see, I managed to actually disable them, even though I still have over 10 shots left. So Disabler SMG, I actually will say, is a pretty viable counter to this. But Disabler SMG is a tech, and if it's not War Ops, you're not going to have them. Or you're very unlikely to have them. So, just another thing worth considering, that probably the best counter, which is a Disabler SMG, is not a reliable one because you can't guarantee having it when the nukies come with this setup. So, funnily enough, the best strategy you can actually do to beat people using 2 energy weapons is turn off gravity. So as far as I'm aware, the way that this works is that turning off gravity will essentially drop their reflect chances to the minimums. So even though he's standing still, the reflect chance will now be down to 25% per weapon instead of 50%. I don't have a proper way of checking this in-game, and I can't quite read the code, but for what I'm aware, this does work, and we could just test it to see that it does work. Beforehand, if they had 2 energy weapons out, they would literally survive over 100 L6 bullets due to the 75% reflect chance. So with gravity turned off, they should theoretically only survive around 60 bullets, as if they only had the 1 reflect weapon. Technically, it should be a little bit worse, but RNG's RNG. Let me just wield the L6. And let's just see how many bullets they survive. So we'll shoot 31 to prove that they are still reflecting. I mean, you'll see the reflect instantly. So there's 31 bullets. So they survived about 62 bullets, 61 bullets, which is really pretty much just around the effectiveness of one weapon being reflected. I will say 61 bullets from an L6 saw into a jug suit, still a shit ton. Obviously, they're going to take some bleeding and stuff. Hitting an entire mag dump like that's pretty unrealistic. They're going to cut you to pieces, or you're going to be too far away and miss. So, like, they are still absurdly tanky. But either way, 60 bullets to crit is a hell of a lot better than over 100. So turning off gravity, issuing mag boots to all the people who have guns and can fight back, might be a pretty viable strategy. This also means that Nukies taking out gravity on their own are actually hurting their own reflect chances as well, even if their mag boots are turned on. So, worth considering for both crew and the syndicates alike.